Good morning and welcome to another identity-packed episode of Nadya's Identity Files. It's also yet another gray day outside, but I've always enjoyed a little bit of June gloom in my life, subject to the gloom, of course, not being accompanied by actual gloomy events. But, you know, you can only ask for the world to provide so much for you, right? So today we are going to explore different ways one can live consciously and engage in practices, therapies, and exercises that create a more conscious life. But what does that actually mean to lead a conscious lifestyle? Often when we hear that phrase, we automatically think of yogis and hippies, and it's like super cliche. I was just over in Venice Beach over the weekend, so it's like I know people who are not familiar with that realm, when they see a hippie just kind of slowly walking down the boardwalk and looking off to the beach, they're like, oh yeah, that's one of those conscious life people. But there's actually quite a bit more to it than that. In short, when you're leading a conscious life, you're more likely to live a life that is fulfilled and filled with happiness and joy. Living a conscious life means you're actively evaluating your activities, decisions, and options. You're making deliberate choices based on your values and your truth. And we are often weighed down by illness, external and environmental pressures, challenges, anxieties, and most of all, we're weighed down by our own inner critic, that voice that often will kind of pervade throughout the day and keep us from accomplishing and doing everything that we feel that we're capable of, and oftentimes keeping us in a place of not only emotional anxiety and strife, but sometimes as well as physical woes and illness and so on and so forth. Because when we have a more positive and aligned mindset, we often are creating an environment in ourselves that's more conducive for healing, and it gives us an opportunity also to live our truth. So today, as you know, I've had people on the show before that kind of are in this world. I had Lisa Mockenberg on my show before, who is a very well-known hypnotherapist. And sorry, guys, there's someone dancing in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard right now. I swear, I have the most interesting studio location. But anyway, I don't think I've had any yoga. Well, actually, yes, I have had a yogi on my show. I had somebody that practiced mindfulness meditation, and today I'm having another hypnotherapist on the show. Who was also a friend of Lisa Mockenberg, and I'm going to have a creative mindset coach. So the clinical hypnotherapist, Cheryl Hill, is absolutely wonderful. Looking forward to speaking with her. I'll tell you a bit more about what she does in a moment. And then Nadya de Paula Pimenta, I said your full name, watch out if you're watching right now, who is going to be talking about how he coaches entrepreneurs and creatives on creating a very open and creative mindset so we can accomplish everything that we want to accomplish without hindrance. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Cheryl. Originally from Seattle, Washington, Cheryl Hill is a graduate of HMI. That's also where Lisa Mockenberg attended and teaches. And Cheryl specializes in medical conditions that can be corrected with hypnotherapy. She is the first African American to become a member of the HMI Founders Club and was the recipient of the Director's Award, the Academic Achievement Award, and the Clinical Achievement Award for Outstanding Excellence while in school for hypnotherapy. Nadya de Paula Pimenta has a background in acting, producing, and storytelling. He is the founder of The Creative Journey, where he helps creatives tune out their inner critic, tune into their authentic voice, tap into their creative flow, and unleash their full creative potential so that they may carve out their own path of productivity, profit, purpose, and their own unique experience of success and fulfillment. Well, that sounds like everything that I enjoy and I every day am trying to be better at. And of course, there's so much that I can learn from both of them and from probably many of you out there watching right now. I don't proclaim to be an expert on anything, least of all establishing a greater mindfulness practice. I'm always looking for new methods and ways to be better at that. So, as you know, as troubling as times are today, I really do think that it's highly important that we engage more fully with ourselves and our relationships and with our world. And both hypnosis and creative coaching are unique roads to a similar outcome, that similar outcome being greater awareness and holistic health. But before we dig into today's interviews, I would like to have a brief snapshot of identity news. Because it's been a little while since I've gone the identity news route, so we're going to go into it today. First of all, I do want to wish everybody out there a happy Pride Month. It's June. Pride events are fully underway. In fact, this past weekend, I was in Venice, as I mentioned, with a friend, and I happened across some of the Venice Pride festivities. However, I missed the actual lighting that took place on Friday night. Hi, Rando, knocking on the window. Also, last week, my dear friend and digital marketing client, Michael Kearns, along with Transparent's Alexandra Billings and Sarah Ramirez, Alexei Romanoff, was recognized for his advocacy on behalf of our community by Mayor Eric Garcetti at LGBT Heritage Month at City Hall. So I was super excited about that. I was there for the ceremony. I saw his speech along with the other recipient speeches, and it was incredibly moving, super powerful. The energy was wonderful. I just wish that that energy was ubiquitous, but unfortunately there is quite a bit of hate and animosity that seems like it's growing more and more every day, and I fear that it will get worse before it gets better. Something that I do want to highlight on that note is, again, I think that in light of it being Pride Month, in light of everything that's happening in our world right now, I want you to go out there and enjoy yourself this weekend if you're heading to the LA Pride Festival and the parade. But make sure that for yourself and for everybody else, if you're out there and you see or hear something suspicious, report it. Say something, open your mouth, don't let it go unnoticed. It's up to us to be watchful of things that are suspicious so we can all enjoy ourselves and be safe. Also, it would be amiss of me not to recognize the Pulse nightclub shooting, which took place almost a year ago on June 12th, 2016. It was both the deadliest mass shooting by a single shooter and the deadliest incident of violence against the LGBT people in the United States history. It was also one of the deadliest acts of violence against a Latino population, as the event took place on Latin Night, not something that's widely acknowledged. We are in a time that requires more love, support, and advocacy than ever before, and I want to highlight a disturbing piece of news that took place right in my own neighborhood. I live in Palms, which is a little neighborhood right outside of Culver City. Don't come try and stalk me. I oftentimes am just hiding out in my apartment, slaving away, so you won't be able to find me. But I was on a walk maybe a few weeks ago, and I came across a very lovely Buddha statue. And although I am not Buddhist, I engage in some Buddhist practices, and I revere the Buddha as being a symbol of acceptance, love, and peace. And for some time, there has been this Buddha that has been sitting in the middle of my neighborhood, and people would put flowers and fruit on the Buddha. And every time I walked by it, I just felt this overwhelming sense of peace and serenity. And I really, in fact, I changed my running route just so I could have an excuse to run past the Buddha. This past weekend, however, I discovered that the Buddha had been decapitated in an act of hate. Who would do such a thing? Who would cut off the head of a Buddha like that? I mean, it's completely disturbing, and those feelings that I had of peace, serenity were completely gone and replaced with feelings of negativity and concern, and honestly just not feeling safe. I wonder what was going through the heads of people that would do such a thing. And the first thing I think of course, is that they have hate in their hearts. They resent what the Buddha stands for, and they resent, obviously they resent life, they resent God only knows. And I also wonder what are they suffering from? What is going on in their lives that would drive them to do something like this? This is frightening. It should not be taken lightly. My local neighborhood association, the Motor Avenue Association, left a note on the statue requesting that anyone who wishes to repair this Buddha or provide information about suspects to call this number. I'm going to give you the number. It's 310-202-9002. Again, that's 310-202-9002. The statue is between the intersection of National and Palms and National and Motor, adjacent to some storage facilities. So if you're driving by it and you want to check it out, it's there. Super creepy. I think that we should spread this news because it's a sign, in my opinion, of what could come. Anyhow, just keep the peace, keep the good vibes, keep the good energy. We're going to be speaking to Cheryl and Nadya when we come back. Stay tuned.